Esports athletes have hard jobs. Sure, they're doing what they love, but so are most professional sports athletes. Baseball players love throwing the ball, hockey players love beating the crap out of each other, and polo players, well, they love being more wealthy than you. All those jobs come with upsides and downsides, and esports is no different. But to really get an idea of just sort of the struggle esports players go through, we have to compare it to something in the sports world. And that's why for this video, we're going to be looking at professional League of Legends players versus the American competitive football. Now, I know what a lot of you are saying right now. Football is way harder than League of Legends because you get hit in the face, you get knocked to the ground. Like there's so much, I get it. But there are a lot of things that can make a job difficult. Now, to compare League of Legends and professional football, we need a baseline. So we're going to separate the people that are playing football during recess and for fun, people that are playing unranked in League of Legends. So let's go look at the numbers. For starters, even getting into the LCS is hard. According to NFL report numbers from way back in 2013, because we don't have a big research budget, out of the 310,465 high school seniors who played football, only 0.08% would make it to be one of the 1,696 players in a professional football club in the US. According to numbers from the same year about League of Legends, out of the roughly 300,000 gold or above ranked players in North America, only 0.0001% will make it into one of the 60 NALCS spots. So what's the bottom line? Well, in North American League of Legends, about 1 in every 10,000 gold or above ranked players makes it into the NALCS. Whereas in football, it's more like 1 in every 1,250 senior high school players that make it into the NFL. How long are the careers of athletes in both cases? Well, barring post-athlete careers like coaching, streaming, or giving up competitive solitaire to become an esports interviewer, the turnover rates are actually pretty high in both cases. In the NFL, the average career length is 3.3 years, with the highest being around 11.7 years for players who manage a Pro Bowl appearance under their belt. In the LCS, the career average hasn't had as long as the NFL to gather exact data, but in most cases, a 2-year career is the average, with the longest career in the NALCS belonging to Doublelift, who's been playing for 7 years, actually since before the LCS started in 2011. He's also my best friend. As an example, the oldest active LCS player is Jake Xmithy Pichero at 26 years old. Contrast that with the oldest active NFL player, Adam Vinatieri, who is a 40-year-old kicker for the Colts, and he's in his 18th season of play. The bottom line here is that League of Legends careers are shorter on average by 1.3 years, and the average player is about 4.2 years younger. Now, since we've acknowledged the physical differences, it's pretty safe to say that League of Legends players have it pretty hard when it comes to game time. The average game time in League is about 32 minutes long, and it can actually go way longer than that. In fact, in spring 2018, the longest game was 74 minutes. An average NFL game lasts about 3 hours and 12 minutes, but there's only 11 minutes of actual playing time due to about 20 commercial breaks and 67 minutes of players, coaches, and officials just standing around. Between plays, injuries, timeouts, and replays, which average about 17 minutes of the total game time, the average NFL player only plays for about 3 to 4 minutes per game. The bottom line is that the average LCS player plays around 10 times longer than the average NFL player does per game. Both football and league offer a lot of ways for their players to make additional cash like sponsorships, endorsements, and streaming, but what about when it comes to just base salary? The average base salary of a League of Legends player in North America this year was around $320,000, reportedly. In the LCS rulebook, the minimum allowed salary for a player is around $75K. Now in the NFL, the average player makes $2.1 million, with the minimum pay allowed by the league being $465,000 in the first year of play, and it goes up every year. The bottom line here is that the average league player makes around 6.5 times less than an NFL player, and the minimum pay is about 6.2 times less. Now, you might not know this, but the NFL has rule changes every year. What constitutes as a foul, what can get you disqualified, and even what counts as a catch. In 2017, there were 8 changes to the way that football is played. In League, there are around 12 to 25 changes per patch, with multiple patches per season. These changes can be anything from the damage a character does to something more substantive like how the champion actually plays in the game. Sometimes a champion's kit is no longer recognizable as the same character. Most of the changes aren't due to the balance of the game as a professional esport, but for the main audience of the game. It'd be like making one end of the football squared because the fans who play football occasionally want to kick it easier. The bottom line is there's an unimaginable number of changes that occur in League of Legends per year, whereas in NFL that number is usually around 10. In order to be a top-tier competitor in the NFL or in League of Legends, you have to practice a lot. The average NFL player practices or trains around 5 hours per day. This includes workouts, drills, classroom sessions, and even actual game practice. In League, the reported training numbers are higher, with around 8 hours of playtime scheduled per day, but most players continue beyond that to keep their skills up in solo queue or even while streaming. One player reported playing at least 10 hours per day and doing physical training in addition to that. NFL players have hard jobs, there's no doubt about that. The injury rates are obviously way higher than in esports. You have to maintain a specific weight or you get fined by your team, and you have to run, which is maybe one of the worst things in the world. But in spite of all that, if playing the game that they love is what their job is, being an esports athlete is harder than you might think.